Where we've gotten past the point. Look at this, I just put my hand in a cupcake.
I got a comment. One comment. This is the entire video, okay? It's one comment. That struck me as a little strange on the video that I made as a joke, the last video I made as a joke, which was about, it was basically a joke about cancel culture, because Gerard said something on like Life on the Murder Scene, and he was like introducing a song on like the Free Speech Radio Network or something ridiculous, like something super American, weirdly American sounding. So I made a joke that because he said that, he was cancelled, because even ContraPoints had like made fun of that, like in the gender critical video of hers, and I thought it was like funny in my head that because she said something and she was cancelled, that My Chemical Romance other super cancelled. That was the whole joke. It was meant to make fun of, you know, cancel culture. That was the whole thing. This comment basically said that I should stop being cringy because it makes the community, the My Chemical Romance community, look bad. I was making people hate the community or whatever. It was like a weird comment? I don't know. The reason I'm making this video is not because, oh, I am offended that they called me cringy. It wasn't about that. It's not about being called cringy that upsets me. The reason I wanted to make this video is because I was accused of making the community look bad, and not because I care. Again, it's because it made me think about it and made me connect some dots that I didn't connect yet, and it made me very interested in a certain thing about how cringe culture really affects the way we emo see ourselves, because obviously being emo is not like popular or anything like that. So first of all, I don't care that because of my actions, of my cringy actions, people think that the entire community is cringy, because those people are not necessarily people that I want to be associated with anyway. They're not like people that I want to be friends with. They're not people that I want to impress. Okay, Karen, basically. So the second reason I think that this is a stupid way of bringing this, a stupid argument, if you will, is that it's not about the cringiness of the fan base anyway. The reason people hate or find My Chemical Romance cringy is not because the fans are necessarily cringy, because you can find cringy fans anywhere. It's about what you define as cringy, right? The reason I think that people find My Chemical Romance laughable or cringy is because it's just a disregard of a teenage female audience, really. Take another band like AC/DC or something. People find them respectable, not because the band is so much better than My Chemical Romance, but because their fan base is older men. It's plain and simple misogyny, I think, anyway. So let me explain with another band, maybe it'll make it more sense. Like, let me take you back to the 60s, for example. The Beatles were ginormous in the 60s, and most fans were teenage girls. Well, guess what? The older people at that time, thought the Beatles were bad and, you know, devilish, and they were, if in today's words, they would be considered cringy. But they're not considered bad or shitty or whatever anymore, because most fans are older men. Older people, but mostly men, right? They're no longer teenage girls. And it's just simple disregard of teenagers and a disregard of women. Very like sexist, kind of misogynistic feel to it. So it's not necessarily about cringiness, it's about what we as a society cringe at, which is teenagers and women and queer people, which is the things that are associated with My Chemical Romance, and mentally ill people. So yeah. In ContraPoint's video Cringe, she mentions in-group cringe, which is the type of embarrassment you feel if someone else in your group does something stupid, and you're just like, oh no, you know, that's that kind of feeling. For example, when another woman does something very stereotypically woman, I will feel like my internalized misogyny will be like, aha. And the way some people deal with this is by calling them out, by distancing themselves from it. Like, for example, some trans guys make fun of AFAB trans people because they think they're not trans enough, because they want to like disassociate them from them, because they think that cis people will see them, the trans guys, as the non-binary or, you know, feminine trans-masked people. So it's basically they're projecting their own dysphoria and self-hatred and internalized transphobia onto these random trans people. And in my humble opinion, this is exactly what is happening when people comment shit like, you make the My Chemical Romance community look bad. It's like, no. And even if I were, isn't it the problem that this is cringy to people? Like, what am I doing? I'm making a joke about cancel culture. I feel like it's weird to associate me with the entirety of the My Chemical Romance thing, even though it was obvious a stupid joke about cancel culture, not necessarily about My Chemical Romance. It's basically people hate me for this band, and you are making a funny joke about it, a silly joke. It was not even a funny joke, to be honest. You're making a silly joke about this, and that pisses me off because people hate me for this, and it was like, it's like internalized My Chemical Romance phobia or something, I don't know. Besides all this, my channel has 24 subscribers. It has 40 views or something, that video. It's like not a big deal, so do you really think that I am making the entire community more cringe? It's like random person. It's not that big of a deal. But even if you were commenting on like a Cranked with Frank video that has like millions of views or like tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of views, even then, it doesn't really fucking matter. I can say that a very cringy cis white male makes all cis white men look bad, but that strikes weird because, first of all, they're like the default settings, right? They don't make all cis men look bad. It's just one cis person, one man doing something weird, and that doesn't reflect negatively on the rest of cis men because cis men are like the default. They're not necessarily oppressed. So that's why I think that this is happening. It's not because, well, people just think that I'm cringe and I'm objectively cringe, because there's no such thing. It's like you're trying to distance yourself from like the bad ones in the community because you want to be respected by people that don't like you. It doesn't make sense to me, you know. They're gonna hate you regardless of how much you hate on yourself and your own group and your own fandom. But like, of course I do the same thing. Like when I see cringy My Chemical Romance memes, I'm also like, oh my god, especially if they're like forward memes, that makes me also want to like, you're the bad ones, you know. But most of them are very disrespectful as well, so I'm more like, oh my god. It's like you're embarrassed because it looks bad in front of the band almost. The reason I'm like, that is a stupid reason to hate on these people is because like, if people view me on the basis of my interests badly because of some teenage girls on Instagram, I don't want to associate with those people anyway because they're not really like good people. I'm just embracing the cringe. You should too, embrace the cringe and be yourself and do the cringy things you always wanted to do, like make a stupid joke about cancel culture by using My Chemical Romance. Next time you leave hate on to me or like do anything, at least do something that actually hurts me instead of inspires me to make a video about cringe culture. Just saying. This was a video. I hope you enjoyed it. I don't know why you would, but see you later, potatoes. Doesn't make sense, okay? I need an outro. Subscribe and like and stuff.